Day 2, section 8.8, we're still writing linear equations, but today the difference will be we aren't given quite the same amount of information. So by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to write equations in slope-intercept form if you're given a point that's on the line and the slope, and you're also going to be able to write equations in slope-intercept form if you're given 2 points on the line. Remember that slope-intercept form is a linear equation, y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope of the line and b represents the y-intercept. So for the first and second example, they're going to be very similar. We're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form if you're given a point and the slope. So this point, negative 5, 10, our line goes through that point. Our line has a slope of 8. So the first thing we want to do is write slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And what you'll recognize here is that we aren't given the y-intercept anymore. This equation was very easy to write if I gave you m and b, but today I'm not. Today I'm giving you m and a point on the line. So here's what we're going to do. First, remember that an ordered pair is x and y. And we are going to plug in the 8, the negative 5, and the 10 for m, x, and y. Watch what happens when I do that. So y from the ordered pair is 10. The slope is 8. And the x from the ordered pair is negative 5. So if I rewrite the equation, plugging in those three values, you'll see that I'm left with one unknown, and that's b. So we are going to now solve this equation for b. So I have 10 equals negative 40 plus b. Solve for b by adding 40 to both sides. 10 plus 40 is 50, and so we get that b equals 50. That means the y-intercept, where this graph crosses the y-axis, is all the way up at positive 50. Remember, though, that we were asked to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Well, now, from the original equation, or from the original problem, we were given the slope, and we just found the y-intercept. So now we can write the equation y equals 8x plus 50. Notice I don't ask you to graph this one since none of our graphs go up to 50. Another example, we have a slope of 0 given to us and the ordered pair 10, negative 6. That means that our equation goes through the point 10, negative 6, the line goes through 10, negative 6 and has a slope of 0. So if we write y equals mx plus b, the 10 represents the x coordinate from the ordered pair and the negative 6 represents the y coordinate from the ordered pair. So when we plug in 0, 10, and negative 6, we're plugging negative 6 in for y, we're plugging 0 in for m, and we're plugging 10 in for x, and we don't know the y-intercept. That's what we're trying to solve. So we get negative 6 equals 0 plus b. 0 times 10 is 0. 0 plus b is just b. So there's nothing to add or subtract to the other side. So we get a y-intercept of negative 6. So now we want to write the equation y equals mx plus b, plugging in the slope that we were given in the problem, 0, plus the y-intercept that we just solved to find. So that's going to give us y equals 0x minus 6. Remember, our y-intercept is 0, so we can write minus 6. If you're writing plus a negative 6, that too is okay. From here, you could leave this like that, or because we have 0x, this term kind of goes away. So you could just write y equals negative 6. So both of these answers are acceptable. So just understand the difference of not writing 0x in the second equation. Now let's take one step back again. Now I want you to write the equation in slope-intercept form, but I'm just giving you 2 points on the line. So now not only are we not given the y-intercept anymore, we are also not given the slope. But remember, if I give you 2 points, we can calculate the slope. So our slope formula says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let me write that again. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to plug in the ordered pairs. 4 minus 3 over 6 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1, 6 minus 3 is 3, so that gives me a slope of 1/3, and I'm going to write that up here. Now, we're back to where we were in problems 1 and 2. We have the slope and we have an ordered pair. We actually have 2 ordered pairs here. And you have the option to use either ordered pair. You can use the first one to plug it in or the second one to plug in. I will always use the first ordered pair. So we have y equals mx plus b. I'm going to use the first ordered pair. Remember, you can use either one. Mrs. Herbst will always use the first one. And that's just because I like to be consistent. Okay, so my y from the first ordered pair is a 3. The slope I just computed was 1/3. The x from that first ordered pair is also a 3. And my y-intercept I don't know. So now when we multiply 1/3 times 3, we get 1. 1/3 times 3, the 3's cancel. So 1 plus b. Subtract 1 from both sides. And we get -2 equals b. So now our answer, remember our answer is writing the equation in slope-intercept form. So now we have to go back and write it using the y-intercept that we found here and the slope that we computed initially. So when we rewrite this equation, we get y equals 1/3 x minus 2. And this is your answer. So recognize what happened earlier in the first 2 examples. We were given the slope but not the y-intercept. And in this example and in the following one, we're now not given either piece of information, and we are having to find both of those before we can write the equation. So in number 4, it's our last example, we have 1, 4 and 2, 8. So first we have to find the slope. So I'm going to label my ordered pairs x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have 8 minus 4 over 2 minus 1. 8 minus 4 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 over 1 is 4. So I have a slope of 4. So now when I write my equation, I'm going to plug in 4 for the slope. And I'm going to plug in, again, I'm going to use the first ordered pair. 4 for y, 1 for x. And when I solve, subtracting 4 from both sides, I get 0 for my y-intercept. And now to write the equation, mx plus b. Again, my slope was 4, so that's y equals 4x, and my y-intercept is 0. Similar to when your slope is 0, you don't actually have to write plus 0, you can just leave that part off. So again, both of these are acceptable. So you were able to write equations today when you had the slope given plus a point on the line. Also when you had 2 points given. In class, we'll work on worksheet 8.8b.